My name is Jamie McCutcheon. In this tutorial, we'll go over the generic skimmer to Marlee float skimmer conversion tool. This tool is based upon a standard principle of how skimmers are sized, typically sized, versus how the Marlee float skimmer is sized. First off, when a set of plans comes in for your review, typically it will have a basin specified with a skimmer size and an orifice size. You will need this information to convert from the skimmer specified to the appropriate Marlee float. Simply open the conversion tool. Shaded areas are areas for inputs. You can input information such as date, company name, engineer name, project name, location description, or 3 other lines of additional relevant information as may be needed. Primary inputs are generic skimmer size, orifice diameter size. Again, on the set of plans for riser sediment basin number 2, a skimmer size of 4 inches with orifice of 3.3 inches was specified. Simply enter 4-inch skimmer size, 3.3 inch orifice size. In most states, the preferred time to drain will be 3 days. The skimmer size and orifice size are calculated to drain the basin in exactly 3 days in most cases. However, regulations allow for the basin to drain within 2 to 5 days. This is the principle upon which you need to select the Marlee float to meet this regulatory requirement. Based upon the skimmer size of 4 inches, orifice diameter of 3.3 inches, and preferred time to drain of 3 days, an estimated pond volume of 41,000 cubic feet is determined. Based upon this pond volume, we can also determine the minimum peak flow rate allowable of 8,200 cubic feet per day would drain the pond in 5 days. The maximum peak flow rate allowable of 20,500 cubic feet would drain the pond in 2 days. Based upon the estimated pond volume of 41,000 cubic feet, this tool will calculate, based upon the flow rate for each size Marlee float, the drawdown time for that basin. In this case, drawdown times range from over 20 days to approximately 1/2 day. Again, the tool clearly shows which Marlee floats meet the 2 to 5 day requirement. In this case, a Model 1 with a 2.5 inch orifice would drain the basin in 4.4 days. A Model 2 with a 3 inch orifice would drain the basin in 2.5 days. So either Marlee float would be acceptable for this basin. For the other basin, specified a 4-inch skimmer with a 3.5 inch orifice. So again, we go to the conversion tool, 4-inch stays the same, then enter 3.5 inch orifice. It'll calculate the estimated pond volume and again show you which Marlee floats are suitable. In this case, it's the same. Model 1 with a 2.5 inch orifice will drain the basin in just under 5 days, so it meets the requirement. Or a Model 2 with a 3 inch orifice would drain the basin in approximately 2.8 days. Again, either model Marlee float will meet the regulatory requirement, and in general we would recommend to select the model closest to the preferred 3-day drawdown time, although either meets the regulatory requirement. In some instances, you will have just a generic skimmer size and not an orifice diameter. In this instance, you would enter the orifice diameter as the same as the skimmer size. You'll assume that the orifice plug, as put on some brands, is not installed, and it's just the standard skimmer. So a 4-inch skimmer with a 4-inch orifice, again it would estimate the pond volume, and if that were the case, a Model 2 with a 3-inch orifice saddle would drain the pond in 3.6 days, or a Model 2 with a 4-inch saddle would drain the pond in 2.38 days. Again, both models meet the regulatory requirement and would be acceptable for that basin. Please visit www.swfeesaver.com for more helpful information.